views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the staff or management of the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast.
Well, happy Wednesday and welcome to this week's edition of the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast. I'm Jon Engelman. We appreciate you being here. We got a great one this week as we're sitting down with Onyx Co-Owner Andrea Allen at the new Onyx in downtown Springdale. But before we get to her, it is Tontitown Grape Festival week and it's already kicked off as it started yesterday. By the way, if you're watching this video on YouTube of them setting up, it happened Monday. There are plenty of craft booths and rides every year. You can also win a Ford Bronco Sport. Raffle tickets are just $1 a piece, and you can get 6 tickets for $5. And those spaghetti dinners that people go to the festival for, Tontitown Grape Festival Chairman Clint Engel will tell you when you can get those.
Dinners are Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So
okay.
Tuesday, Wednesday, we don't have dinners.
And that's 4:30 to 8:30, the spaghetti dinners?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
Great. Wright's barbecue owner Jordan Wright took to Instagram yesterday to give an update on their Johnson location.
Quick update in the land of Johnson. As you can see, we got trucks moving. We got caterpillars caterpillaring. Got culverts coming in, curb and gutter done, parking lot graded, working on the new building for you guys to enjoy. Obviously in construction, delays happen, but we're working right along, waiting on a few things from the city and getting water going. Hopefully we get back open soon, at least a couple weeks. So people of Johnson, Fayetteville, we're working hard for you, and we're going to get it done soon. Love you guys.
Things are coming together at the Fermentary in Lowell. In fact, they're coming together so well that they posted on Instagram yesterday that they're, well, open. But only to people in the know that follow them on social media. So follow at Fermentary Pub and go check them out at 1000 West Monroe and Lowell for what they're calling Whisper Week. Some sad news here. The Ridge Runner Cafe at Devil's Den is temporarily closed. They said on their Facebook account Monday that with all the trails still closed and with limited campers in the area, they've made the decision to remain closed until the park is fully operational. They went on to say that their hearts go out to the Brink family and that they'll be ready to reopen when the time is appropriate. Nomad Southtown in Fayetteville has officially closed their doors. They postponed their closing a few weeks, but posted on Monday that their doors were officially shut. They said not to worry, though, that Nomad's trail side is still open. Bentonville's Great Harvest will open its doors this Friday. They're located at 2401 Southeast Chase Street, and the doors open at 6:30 in the morning, and they're open until 6 o'clock at night. Hours on Saturday are 8 to 2. The Barber Bar will be opening soon in downtown Bentonville. It's called the Barber Bar because back in the day it was a barber shop. Most recently, though, it was the Bentonville Dive. There is a big screen TV on the patio just in time for football season. When I say big, I mean big. They're hoping to open by the end of the month, but still waiting on a permit or two before they can set that date. Coffee has been a passion for Onyx owners Jon and Andrea Allen for a long time. They worked together at Arsaga's in Fayetteville, not even having an inkling of what they would build together. Andrea would eventually manage a few Arsaga's coffee shops where she would learn the business side of things, and then she and Jon would get an offer that they just couldn't refuse. That's when Onyx was born. Speaking of Onyx, Andrea will tell us about the name and why it fit what they're building. Also, you'll hear her talk about the growth through the years and what's coming. She'll also tell the story of why their cafe, Hail Fellow Well Met, has such a special place in her heart. It's a great story. And also a great story, how hospitality runs deep in her family. She's got a few stories about that, and you'll hear them here next on the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas. Hey there, I want to tell you guys about a very important event that's coming up. It's called Got You Day. It's an important fundraiser for a nonprofit called Gap Relief. They support and empower community servants as they seek to protect, aid, and offer healing to their communities and those that are vulnerable. Their mission's to engage first responders, military, veterans, clergy, medical professionals, educators, nonprofit leadership, and international workers. Got You Day this year is a Lake Day. It's happening Saturday, August 9th at Beaver Lake from 10 to 3. They'll have a barbecue lunch, fishing tournament, a cardboard boat derby, a cornhole tournament, a cannonball contest, lake and pool swimming, silent auction, and prizes. Go to gaprelief.com to get registered for the day there. Again, it's Saturday, August 9th, a great lake day for kids before they head back to school. Every dollar raised supports Gap Relief's mission of helping the helpers build resilient communities. Again, register at gaprelief.com.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. Innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org.
Welcome back. We are at Onyx Coffee Lab here in fabulous downtown Springdale at the fabulous Onyx Coffee Lab down here. Brand new. It's still brand new, right? Am I right?
Oh, yeah. It'll be new for at least 2 years.
Okay. I can say brand new. We're with Andrea Allen, co-owner and chief operator of Onyx Coffee Lab. How are you?
I'm really great. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for your time. I know we've been talking back and forth for a while, so I want to thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You bet. So when I moved to Fayetteville, by the way, I had been here for less than a day. I had not been unpacked. I had nothing except I'd gotten my car off the tow dolly and I knew where to get coffee. At the time, it was Arsaga's in Fayetteville, just around the corner. And I walk in to get coffee. I don't know where I am. I don't know. I know like 3 people, maybe. And there you are. You were one of the first people I met when I moved here. And that became my place for a good long time until I moved. So, you find the right places very quickly.
You do, and that's one of the things that I love about coffee, and so many people love about coffee, is that it is a space that doesn't have a lot of barrier to entry, that's open to everyone, and it's also a place that brings people together. No question
about it, and I love that little Arsaga's back then. Now Onyx, we'll get to that in a second.
Me too.
When did coffee go from a job/hobby to a passion?
I think it kind of was a passion before it was even a job.
Okay.
I started drinking coffee with my dad when I was 5. Yeah, he's my hero. I want to be just like him.
Yeah.
And so when I got my driver's license, and I'm from Northwest Arkansas, I just started driving to the various coffee shops, and I would go to the gas station before I went to school, and I loved to like walk in with my coffee, and I was always feeling like, oh, I really need this coffee. I don't think I really needed it, but I liked the thought process of it as a beverage and it as an identity, as a ride-along. And so, I mean, I really was pretty into it even before I started working in it, and just became interested in the cafe scene and just seeing a place where so many people could sit at a shared community table and be so different from one another. And so as soon as I graduated from high school, the only thing I could even think of was getting a job at Arsaga's, and I went down there and pestered them until they hired me.
Okay, that's great. So, like, during that time, it was Arsaga's, and, like, what else was around there back in the coffee shop?
There was a Starbucks in the Barnes & Noble Cafe. There was Baba Boudin's.
Sure, okay.
And really, I mean, there may have been a handful of other things sprinkled around, but my driving radius was like 3 miles from my house, and so that was
not uncommon.
Yeah, it's pretty much all I was getting into.
Okay, all right. So you're working at Arsaga's, but so is Jon Allen. Tell me about how that happened. Your husband, for those that don't know.
Well,
but you weren't married back then. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, we weren't. Well, I worked at Arsaga's for years, and there was a point in there where there was a really tight-knit group of women. It was all women that worked at the shop I was at, and one of the girls there, she worked full-time, and she was trying to go to Florida for a vacation, and she couldn't get this one shift covered. And nobody could work it. And so I approached my boss and said, hey, listen, my boyfriend he knows how to run a cash register, and I'll just bring him in for an hour at some point and train him. I'll make the drinks. He can run the register. We'll work the shift, and that way she can go to Florida. And my boss said, sure, sounds like a great idea.
That can only happen back in the day. There's no way that would happen today.
Exactly.
Oh, my gosh. So tell me about your path at Arsaga, the path of growth from starting there and working to making your way, if you will.
Yeah, well, while I was there, I worked part-time while I went to the University of Arkansas, and I really just fell in love with making things with my hands. I loved the process of working a really busy, line in the cafe.
Sure.
I loved just meeting people, and I loved the thought where it was like, cool, there's 5 people in line, I know all their names, I know all their drinks, and I'm just going to make them as quick as I can.
Perfect.
And so I was just into the job, into the thought process, into the scene. And so, it was really like a series, as much things in life are, a series of failures that sort of led me to stay there.
Of course.
I applied to 5 different graduate programs senior year, and I didn't get in anywhere.
Okay.
And so I said, well, I guess I'm taking a gap year.
Sure.
And so I felt like I didn't have anything to do. So I just approached my boss, and I was like, hey, I could just run this. I don't have anything to do. I'd be here all the time. I'd do a great job.
Yeah.
Hire me for the manager position. And they were like, okay, sure. So
Just like that.
yeah, I just hopped right in and started learning how to manage people.
Excellent.
I made lots of mistakes, so that's how that goes.
Sure.
But I ended up sort of managing the cafe I was at, and then managing another cafe, and then managing multiple cafes.
Wow.
And so I really just got into the whole operational aspect of it, and I loved everything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the growth, like with coming with the failures are the successes too.
Yeah.
And that motivates.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of both of those things during that time frame.
So you do that for how long in the management side, you think?
Ooh.
Okay, unfair question.
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. When did you decide it's time for me to make my own way?
Yeah, well,
For you and John, pardon me.
for sure. So somewhere along the way, I did get into graduate school. And so I was going to graduate school, and I was still managing cafes.
Wow.
And I was just doing all sorts of stuff. I love to be busy. I love to do things. And so, there was kind of just a moment where John and I, we had gotten married, and we were just sort of like, we need to figure out what does the actual future look like. We were in our mid-20s.
Yeah.
My husband was a musician, and so we were sort of just thinking like, you're working in coffee and going to school. I'm playing music. We're not making much money at all,
Sure.
and we need to figure out what are we going to do. And it was about that time that the Arsagas sort of approached us, and we're like, hey, we're looking to slow down. We have no idea if you guys are interested in purchasing some of these stores from us. And we were like, well, yeah, but of course, we didn't have
Capital?
any money, right? Yeah, it turns out it takes money to do stuff. And so my dad took out a loan and loaned it to us, and we bought a couple of their locations, and we took off running. So
Amazing.
Yeah.
Did you sleep starting out? I mean, you had all the caffeine you wanted, I guess, so you're fine.
I can sleep anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
I was sleeping pretty good. But.
Well, so what were those? I know they're general goals, but what are those first goals? All of a sudden, you have your own place, you're up and running. What are those early goals? I say you couldn't. I don't think you could envision this right now where you all are.
No, definitely not. Yeah, my first goals were to keep everything as good and high quality and as the same as it had always been, because the trust of customers is everything. And so one of the big things in the beginning was just like, we need to make sure that everyone knows that even though some of the things in the business have changed, that the thing that hasn't changed is quality coffee and hospitality.
Yeah.
And so big goal there was just like, let's keep everything the same. Other big goals are just things like, let's pay payroll on time. Yeah. Let's make sure we send our taxes to the right address.
Right.
I mean, I just downloaded QuickBooks on my desktop computer in my garage.
Oh, wow.
And I did payroll, taxes, all the filings. I did everything. And so the first goals were just like, learn how this thing works.
Yeah.
The sweet folks at the state department or whatever
Yeah.
in Little
Oh,
Rock,
yeah.
they would see my number and they'd be like, "Hey, Andrea, what's your question?" No, but when people are going to go start a business and they're like, "I don't know how to do,"
Right.
and then I'm like, just call the state.
Yeah.
They're happy to answer your questions. So yeah, initial goals are just kind of like keep everything running.
Sure.
Make a little money, maybe.
Sure. Well, yeah, there's that.
No, don't go to jail for like embezzlement or whatever. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah,
It's a great goal.
Yeah, small goals.
Yeah.
Fix things.
And so
paint the wall, stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's kind of make sure you learn what you don't know, I would assume. Keep it afloat and slowly try to add, I guess, right? Is that
Exactly.
accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Good. Well, that's great. And at what point did you guys change to Onyx? And where's that name come from?
Great question. So, as much as I like to stay the same, and my first answer was that I wanted to keep everything the same.
Sure.
John was still playing music and traveling all over the country and actually all over the world, and he would come home and say, "There is some really cool stuff going on in coffee.
Yeah.
We are not doing it. You need to look at these things. We need to talk about these things." And I, very resistant to change, and so I was
Sure.
like, why would we ever change anything? Everything's great. Like, we're doing a great job. Everything's the same. Everything's exactly the same,
Right.
But over time, I kind of saw some of that, and what we were seeing is roasters buying directly from farmers.
Yeah.
We saw cafes doing pour-overs of single-origin coffees and roasting them in a way where you could taste what the potential of the coffee was, as opposed to the flavor of the roaster. We just saw people really getting into the art and science of coffee.
Okay.
And so it was at that point that we were kind of like, okay, we could join the specialty coffee movement. We could kind of push into that. There wasn't really any of that happening here in Northwest Arkansas.
Sure, yeah.
And it felt like as we began to work through that process that like the identity of what we were doing was changing.
Yeah.
And that's where we decided, you know what, we're going to really go out on our own and rebrand the company, and we're going to rip off the Band-Aid, and we're going to say, we're going to serve the world's greatest coffee.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy. The name Onyx, so Onyx is the only transparent stone,
Okay.
and a lot of our brand identity is built on transparency, which traditionally takes the form of we publish all of the trade data from the coffee we purchase from the producer that grew the coffee, what we scored it at, what we bought it at, what we paid the logistics company to bring it in, and we were the first coffee company in the world to do that in real time.
Wow.
But yeah, Onyx felt like it represented this sort of like strong, solid symbol, but that was also transparent.
Yeah.
And it also looks nice to write it from a design standpoint.
Okay.
So it's multiple fold. But
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. That's great. Well, with the movement comes learning more about coffee, which you did.
Yeah.
And you continue to elevate that and take it the next steps personally to where you get in some pretty important competitions.
Yes.
That led to the biggest of them all. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I think we'd been Onyx for a couple of years, and we were sourcing and roasting our own coffees and just trying to get a foothold in the wholesale market. And so, wholesale is just selling to cafes and restaurants and whatever businesses are serving coffee. And
Sure.
so we were just having a hard time getting people on the coast to be interested in a roaster from Arkansas.
It makes sense.
Right. And so, we would do lots of cold calling and lots of visiting places and just weren't getting really any accounts at all.
Sure.
And so John saw the U.S. coffee competition happening online, and he watched it for an entire day, and he was like, "This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I want you to go do it." And me being me being the perfect Southern wife, I was like, why? Why would I need to do that? I don't want to do that. That sounds awful, And like any good partner, he was like, well, I mean, it's not about you. We need to prove that we know what we're doing. It's not about you proving anything about you. It's like we need to sell coffee. And this is a way that we can prove to the coffee industry that we know what we're doing.
How was that response after that?
Oh, I was like, oh, you're right. Why are you always right? You know, I'm like, oh, he's always right.
Son of a.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that he's the vision and I'm like the nuts and bolts and operation, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good. But yeah, I mean, I wrote a little script for my first competition that included a story about my brother falling in the creek when we were sledding.
Okay.
Not something usually talked about in competition, but I went with my grandmother's china, talking about family, talking about the family of producers that made my coffee, and I did a really great job. I was 10 weeks pregnant.
Wow.
Sort of on accident, but not really, because, you know, it makes sense. But yeah, I went up there to Minneapolis and I tried really hard and I did a great job and I got next to last, so.
But you learned, right?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the end of it.
It's not the end. Yeah. So that was the start of me feeling like I had something to show. I had something to discuss with the industry. I wanted to show that we really were sourcing, roasting, and serving the world's greatest coffees. And so I went seven seasons to the U.S. competition. I placed second 3 times.
Gosh.
I placed 5th 1 time. And then I finally won the thing in February 24th of 2020.
You lost your mind when that happened, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was.
Good
it was
for you.
Crazy. Thanks. Yeah, it was a real journey, and especially throughout the process of feeling like getting so close and just being right there and not achieving that goal that I had set out to achieve.
Sure.
But also, I think as time and age will do to you sometimes, looking back on it, that the development of myself as a person, as a coffee professional, the development of us as a company, a lot of that wouldn't have gone as far had I not had to continue to go back and innovate, practice, you know, tell myself to be tougher and not be so upset about not winning and just keep going. And in retrospect, I got to be the U.S. Barista Champion for 2 years because of the pandemic.
Sure.
That's never happened in the history of the competition.
Interesting,
And it really bolstered the sort of promotion around our brand during a time where everything was chaotic. So many businesses closed and never reopened. And in retrospect, I'm like, I see now why all of that happened.
Yeah, 100%. And then the people on the coast start listening.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the wholesale you're selling beans and you're also wholesaling.
Yep.
Tell me about the prospect of those and how that built up.
Yeah. Well, really, during that whole time I was competing, we really got sort of to be respected by the coffee industry as a whole. And one of the things that has been really cool about Jon and I's kind of journey and story throughout is that we were coffee professionals before we were coffee shop owners.
Yeah.
And so we really had worked shifts for years and managed for years and roasted and done all the stuff. And so we really knew what it was that baristas were looking for in coffee, what they loved, what they didn't love. And so, you know, as soon as we kind of started to get some credibility, it was our wholesale program really started to grow. And it was incredible to be accepted at some of those cafes that had hung up on me a few years before.
All of a sudden, they're answering the phone, right?
Exactly.
That's amazing. So that grows. You've got locations at all 4 of the big cities: the Rogers, Bentonville, Springdale now, and in Fayetteville, including what you guys are building at the airport. Now you've already got the robot.
It's called Bionics.
Bionics. That's right.
Yeah.
Bionics.
We love puns.
Onyx.
We love a good pun.
That's a good one. I like it. So that's there, but you're also starting it's not really a stand, is it? Or tell me about at the airport.
Yeah, so right inside the front door, we're going to have a small coffee bar.
Okay,
and,
that's what it is.
Just like, it's going to be a really small cafe footprint, and it's just going to be designed for folks like entering or leaving the airport.
Right.
We're going to have a good retail presence there.
Good.
And really, it's going to be, we haven't put the design out yet, but it's going to be beautiful, and we're excited to be sort of like the welcome mat for folks coming here for all the reasons that people are coming to Northwest Arkansas.
So you've got that you're working on. You're also working on with NWA Florist downtown Fayetteville. Heck yeah. Tell me about that. That's great.
Yeah, well, we're friends with the folks that own that business. And so, a couple of years ago, they were like, hey, we're going to do this little spot. Come check it out. And as all new ideas start, we're like, oh, yeah, we'll just come take a look. We'll just look at it and see, right? And so, yeah, we have a really small 750 square foot cafe in the front of their retail location.
Okay.
So it's a floral shop and a gift shop, and then our space is in the front. We're going to have a wine bottle shop there.
Oh, really?
Which I'm very excited about. And we're going to be opening the last week of July.
Outstanding.
Yeah, so we're very excited. And, it feels like we're growing really super fast, and it feels like that to me, but we started Onyx in 2012, and so now here we are in 2025, and we have 7 locations. So we're not a huge fastly growing company, but some of these retail projects, due to all sorts of construction things, have sort of all merged into opening in about a 6-month time span.
Right.
So we're all, if we look a little tired, it's because we are.
I was going to ask when the vacation was.
Right. Wait, what? What's that?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's a foreign word. Don't worry about it.
No, I'm not worried about it. I'm just grateful to be able to have a brick and mortar location in the communities that we're in.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, when I came in here to meet you today, I just look around and see such a cool group of folks from Springdale and from other places just coming here to work, to talk, to hang out. And it's like, this is what drew me to coffee in the first place. And so it's fun to see it realized.
That's great. And speaking of, I also want to add one of my favorite places, Hail Fellow Well Met.
Oh, yeah.
Perhaps one of my favorite patios in all of Northwest Arkansas when it's not 97 degrees outside.
It's pretty hot. Don't go sit out there right now.
But so I didn't want to leave that out of the conversation.
Oh, yeah. I want to tell you a story about that. So that location, we started building in 2020. So we like to do things all at the same time. So February 24th, 2020.
Okay.
I finally won the U.S. Barista Championship.
That's right.
We signed the lease for that location at where Hail Fellow Well Met is.
Yeah.
The cafe we have in the Momentary Art Facility in Bentonville opened.
Oh my God.
So it's like we like to make, we're opening something and we're doing our next thing, right? And so it's just this whole thing. But of course, then the pandemic happened. Yeah. And so over the course of the pandemic, we were drinking just a little bit of wine.
A little bit.
Just a little bit here and there. And doing lots of cooking.
We were doing a little bit of that too.
Yeah, just a little bit. And over time, that location just grew into something else.
Yeah.
We originally decided to go there because the building is built on the footprint of the house I grew up in.
No kidding.
I'm not kidding. So that place was my dad's old farm. It used to be totally rural, and then of course Northwest Arkansas has exploded, and so that was never in our long-term plan, that location. Yeah. But as soon as they started building that building, I just told John, I said, oh, they're going to want a cafe there. Yeah. And I cannot let something else go in there.
No.
And so, I mean, I'm not biased, but it might be my favorite location. I'm there all the time.
It's great.
And
it's a great spot.
I learned hospitality from my mom. Okay. My mom loves to invite strangers to dinner. I used to come home, I'd be like, what? I mean, who are these people? She's like, don't worry about it. But, we had people at our table. We had people in our guest room. Yeah. Like, we have at Thanksgiving, we have people there. I'm like, I don't even know who these people are. And
bless her.
Right. But I'm like, a definition of hospitality is turning a stranger into a friend.
Oh, no question.
And my mom raised me like that, and I love to be at Hail Fellow Well Met, meeting people, just being nice to people, and it feels like a very interesting space that I've occupied for a long time, and to be able to do hospitality in that location, in the literal physical space that I learned. Hospitality is a crazy thing.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Are you ready to talk coffee?
I'm ready.
All right. We got coffee, and we got the Mike Engleman Home Pro Tip of the Week, and that's next right here on the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas.
Let's go! Connect with us at Flavors of Northwest Arkansas on Facebook and Instagram, or by email at flavorsofnwa@gmail.com.
Okay, welcome back. It is time for the Mike Engleman Home Pro Tip of the Week, and for that, Good Miss Andrea, what do you have?
People always want to know how to make great coffee at home. So whatever you're brewing coffee on, make sure you have nice, clean, filtered water, and then properly ground coffee. So that can happen in a coffee shop, in a cafe. It could happen at home if you have a grinder, but make sure your coffee is ground for the brew method that you're utilizing. And then, I always just encourage folks to wherever or whatever roaster you're buying coffee from, feel free to reach out and ask them questions. And I always say a quality coffee roaster should be able to answer those questions and help you get a great cup of coffee every time.
What a great note. Perfect. We'll be right back.
Your story doesn't have to end. As an organ donor, the good in you can live on. In fact, you can save up to 8 lives through organ donation. Sign up to give the gift of life after you're gone. You'll be happy you did. Just maybe, someone else will too. Sign up online today as an organ, eye, and tissue donor at organdonor.gov. It saves lives.
Have you ever tried to want to donate a kidney to someone who's a friend or a family member, but you're not a match? Well, now you can. And here's how you do it. It's called a paired donation. You can be a paired donor. A living individual that wants to donate to an organ, typically kidney or liver, to someone that they know, blood types, other factors, not a direct match. In a paired donation, what your kidney coordination team will do is they will find a recipient trying to do the same thing that would be a match for your friend or your family member, and you a match to them. It happens more than you would think, but it works, and it has saved a bunch of lives. Go to kidney.org to find out more and to find out the process. Again, if you're in the process, your kidney or liver transplant team, your coordinator, they can make this happen for you. Go to kidney.org to figure out how to do it. You'll also learn about liver there as well. Thank you so much. And we're back. Andrea Allen, welcome again. Thank you for your time. I know you're exceptionally busy, and it's 97 degrees outside. I'm just happy to be inside, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, for sure. So, by the way, before we get into coffee, this space is amazing. And I know it's kind of been a long time coming for you guys down here in downtown Springdale.
It has been.
Yeah.
Well, Jon and I are from Springdale.
Okay.
He moved.
Well, yeah.
He moved down here at the beginning of high school, and so
Okay.
we're both locals. And we love Springdale, and we've been trying to put a location down here since the mid 2010s, and we just could never quite figure out the right space, the right time, and all of those things. So this space kind of came onto our radar a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And we just were like, wow, it's a beautiful location. It's an old bank building, and we love old buildings.
Yeah.
I think there's some real spirit to repurposing into something new. And so we've been working on this space since 2023, and we finally got it open in March.
Yeah, and it was great. I toured the thing. By the way, chocolate downstairs.
Yeah.
You walk down there, you smell it.
It smells so good.
It smells
I did
great.
all my meetings down there yesterday, and I was like, do I have like a contact, sugar,
high.
moment from all this chocolate? And I don't think I actually did. But yeah, we've been making bean to bar chocolate for the last 4 years, and it's kind of something that's a fun passion project that's not really fully out there in the public eye. And so we just thought, oh, what a better way to get that in a space that people can see it than to put it in this location.
Yeah.
And it smells great, looks great. If you go down there, you can even get a little taste.
Oh.
And so, it's been a fun thing to work on.
Nice. Tell me a little bit about something that you guys launched a few months ago. Instant coffee.
Yeah,
It's got kind of a connotation to it.
absolutely. It's usually horrible.
It can be. My mother used to have it. Remember Sanka?
Yeah.
Sanka used to make an instant coffee, and
Ugh.
my mom would mix. Yeah, she would. She was a different being, bless her.
Yeah.
But you guys are kind of changing the game on that. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so for us, we travel a lot, and so taking a grinder and a pour over setup, or just taking anything with you on a trip, is a lot going on. And so for some years we've been really trying to put together quality things like instant, like a ready to drink product. We've been working on that for a long time, and really just trying to think how can we actually get some of these products that taste great. And so we launched Instant a few months ago, and it's been amazing. I really love it. We work with a company out of Tulsa that's run by our friend Tyler, and he is a longtime specialty coffee nerd. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that.
Awesome.
But I respect him a ton. I know he is like really on top of his game. And so a couple of years ago, he came over and showed us his product, and I just felt like, wait, this isn't actually instant.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I developed this whole process for doing it that preserves the integrity of the flavor of the coffee, but still is functional in terms of dissolving completely in water or milk. And so, we've been kind of working with him the last couple of years to bring our product into the market, and it's here, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's easy, and it tastes really good.
Excellent. It's good to know. That's something I'm going to have to try. I'm very interested in that. We touched briefly in the earlier segment about sourcing. Mm-hmm. It's an evolution. It continues to evolve. Tell me about that for you guys.
Yeah, so, we started off in the early years of Onyx, my husband Jon would just hop on a plane and go anywhere in the world and walk around and shake people's hands and buy coffee, which is hilarious and weird. But, it was back in the early 2010s, it was really hard to learn about coffee sourcing. Coffee sourcing is still the Wild West. There's no governing body. There's nobody that does official anything from country to country. And it's a global industry, so you can buy coffee from all over the world, and it's wild. And so, one of the big hallmarks of our program is something we just call relationship coffee. And that just means that we've visited the producer's farm. We've tasted their coffees, of course, and then that we trade directly with them, meaning that we give money, we wire money directly to their bank account. And so the goal of that is to put all of the money for the coffee into the producer's hands, and then we pay separately for the logistics and things like that. But those relationships have been incredible. There's 4 major producers in different countries, different continents that we've been working with since 2012.
Okay.
Which is crazy. And then we also buy coffees from importers and exporters and things like that, because we can't possibly cover every country. But our green coffee program is, again, I'm a little biased, but I think it's the best, one of the best in the world. And we're really committed to just the concept that the coffee producer is the person that has the least agency over their crop and over their product of anyone in the supply chain. And so we have a real deep-seated sense of responsibility for making sure that those people we've been working with for all these years actually get the money that they deserve for the quality that their coffee is.
Amazing. So now I know that in the past, and they just may be 2 words, and they may not be what it sounds like, but you see fair trade. How fair trade is fair trade? Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes so much sense. I have a lot of thoughts about this, but Fair Trade is an organization that basically agrees to pay farmers that are in their program a small premium above the commodity price. Okay. And so, what that does is if the commodity market is trading at $1.20, then Fair Trade producers might make $1.45. Okay. If it's trading at $2.50, it's $2.95. Okay. And recently, actually, the commodity market has been at all-time high because there's a big shortage of coffee in Brazil, which is the world's biggest coffee producing country. Okay. But it's recently coming back down, and just for a reference point, the average price per pound that we pay at Onyx is $5.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, like I said, there's nobody overseeing these things. So it's you can see a fair trade stamp on something and you can feel like, okay, I'm going to buy this because I feel positive about the fact that my money is going to the right place.
Exactly.
And then, sometimes we have people come in and they're like, I want to buy coffee here, but it's not fair trade. And it's like, well, that program's completely different than what we're doing.
Here's fair trade. Here we are.
Right. Yeah. And it's less of a it's more just about educating coffee consumers about where and how where their coffee's coming from and how that process works.
That's such a hard thing to do.
It is, and that's actually one of the reasons why we're so committed to design and then behind that, transparency and education. So for us, we're kind of like, if we're going to say this is the world's greatest coffee, we need to be able to hand it to anyone, and they take it and they just touch the box, they look at the box, and they can agree and say, yes, it is.
There you go.
And so
Love that.
our feeling is that like the quality of the coffee, the design and the the appearance and everything about it is amazing, and it's really easy for people that are coffee interested to say yes to it, and then you can like trust us with the ethical side of it.
Yep.
So we always lead with hospitality, with design, with fun, kindness, all that kind of stuff, and then we educate on the back end, because no one wants to hear that they're wrong.
There's that.
And we're not out to like point fingers at other people.
Sure.
Our whole model of transparency is just like, here's the data. This is what we do. If you read it and you like it, great. If you read it and you don't like it, that's also okay. Like, we're not trying to elevate ourselves. We're trying to elevate coffee producers. And so, that work is something that's pretty easy to get on board with.
That's great. I want to talk about the mail order program.
Oh, yeah.
As the children, I'm not going to say that. I hear it's...
say it.
No,
say it. You can always cut it later,
yeah,
right?
I know. I was going to say, I've learned on the dad joke trail that I've become very good at stopping myself, but I was going to say, I understand it's bussin'.
Right.
I may cut that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not proud of it, but please.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned earlier the pandemic, which we all lived through.
Of course.
And, when that started happening, we sort of had something cooking, if you will. We had, leading up to that time, built a brand new website and a new line of packaging that we felt like would communicate the value of what we felt like we were doing in the industry. And so basically, whenever everything shut down, we had all that packaging here in Northwest Arkansas. We were ready to push play on the website, and we waited until August of 2020 because we felt like we don't know what's going on in the world.
Right.
It's not exactly a time to just be like celebrating. And so we waited as long as we could, and we were just straight up running out of packaging. And so we were like, okay, we're going to do it. And we hit go on that thing, and our mail order program was born.
Outstanding.
And so, it was like kind of a perfect moment where so many people, of course, at home and just sort of captivated by all of like the digital things happening. And so we like launched our little retail box out into the world, and we were completely overwhelmed with orders. John, my husband's always like celebrating that time frame, and I call it the apocalypse because I was like in our production facility trying to figure out how to like ship all these orders out. And but
were you doing them by hand at that point?
Yeah, we still do a lot of it by hand. And so, just not being prepared and, there was no way to prepare for it. But really, we kind of felt like it might, whenever everything opened back up, it might kind of die off. But really, I think what it did is it changed people's coffee drinking habits and people's purchasing habits. So whereas like so many people used to go to a cafe every day or commute in from somewhere to a downtown office and go to a cafe or that kind of shifted, and then people actually learned to make coffee at home. Yeah. And they learned like, it's not that hard.
True.
I don't want to take anything away from anybody, but you can make a decent cup of coffee almost anywhere.
Yeah.
And so, really we sort of latched into that thought process, and I kind of like joke with people sometimes, and I just say I never thought I would be an operational person in a digital brand, but we are. So much of what we do exists digitally through our website and our social media and all of our like content. So that's a lot of our business is shipping to people's homes. Yep. And that takes the form of just people ordering, one box coffee or a gift for someone. We also have a subscriber program, and you can kind of choose the quantity of coffee you want and also like how often you want to receive it. Yeah. And so we have quite a few folks on that. And so, it's been wild and crazy, but we're also grateful because, of course, all of that business undergirds like the entire backbone of our program, which is our green purchasing program, and supporting producers and, cultivating quality worldwide. And so it's incredible. It's insane. So
well, and you also have a subscription program for tea.
We do.
Tell me about your tea.
Yeah, so tea and chocolate and instant are all products that sort of go into that cafe coffee moment. And so we work with Savoy Tea. They're a local tea company,
Sure.
and they help us source and sort of curate our tea lineup. And so we have
great.
a full tea lineup. In fact, spoiler alert, we're doing a tea advent calendar for the holiday this
No
year.
way.
Yeah, we're super excited about that. And so,
awesome.
yeah, I mean, really, we're just into anything beverage. Matcha is also a huge, beverage right now. And so we've been doing matcha for a long time, but there's suddenly a matcha shortage. I don't know if you've heard about this,
I have
but
not.
it's just like it's rose so much in popularity, and it kind of matcha can be prepared in a way that sort of like mimics espresso. So you make a matcha concentrate, and it goes with milk or with milk and like vanilla syrup, and then it's like a latte, but instead of having coffee in it, it has matcha in it.
Interesting.
And so it's extremely popular worldwide, but in the States it's really like growing a ton. And so there's a shortage. It's funny, so
Well, I'm gonna pop one on you here. What is your favorite Onyx drink?
I want to say that's hard to answer,
I
but
know.
it is, of course, the immaculate cup of Southern weather. Just drip coffee.
Drip coffee. Good for you. That's
It's
my thing
just,
too.
It's easy.
Yeah.
It's
I
quality.
know it was unfair, and it was a down low dirty question. But
No, I'm not ashamed to say it. People are always like, "Oh, I bet you drink like the fanciest latte or like a geisha pour over," and I'm like, I actually love all of those things,
Sure.
but there's nothing like a cup of black coffee.
Yeah.
It's just not. So
Yeah. Well, thank you for this. Thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
This has been great.
It's my pleasure.
Where can folks find you?
Me personally?
Well, I mean,
In any of our no.
that's right. She said all of them at once.
I'm around. No, but if I'm around and you see me, you want to say hi, do it, because I love chatting with people. But
Awesome.
yeah, you can find out more about the brand at onyxcoffeelab.com, and all of our locations are on there. And if you're in Northwest Arkansas and you've never been to our locations, or maybe you go to a particular one but you haven't been to some of our newer locations, I would encourage you to come check them out. Even if you don't buy anything, just come in and look around.
Yeah, absolutely.
We take a lot of pride in building what we feel like are beautiful spaces.
Well,
and
let me, before we get out of here, like the number 1 in the U.S. and the number 2 in the world. Tell me.
Something like that. Yeah.
That's Rogers. I know it'll be Springdale next, just out of just because. But yeah. Congratulations, by the way.
Thanks so much. I mean, I was telling somebody the other day, the power of speaking your goals out loud is crazy. I mean, we opened the door the first day of Onyx Coffee Lab, and I was at the counter saying, we serve the world's greatest coffee.
It's great.
Well, we didn't, for sure, because I didn't know that then. I was like, I either had a lot of faith or I was delusional or a little bit of both. But like, I've been saying that for the last, decade plus, and I don't always think that the goals that you are after, you can make it to, but I've been encouraging some people, and I've been telling my kids, I'm like, hey, what you say about yourself and what you want to do is really powerful, and so say what you want and go for it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And congratulations again. That's amazing.
Thank you.
You can find Flavors of Northwest Arkansas on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Don't laugh. Thank you so much for your time, as always. Well, she laughed. We'll see you next week. Have a great week. Bye-bye.